Hey Elemental Team, Alex here from the cozy comfort of my house. Today's discussion topic is going to be about warming up and general activity throughout the day. So something that we're seeing, a common pattern that we're seeing throughout the last couple of weeks is a spike in injury rates or tweaked backs or tweaked muscles in athletes around town, athletes that we work with around the country. And likely what this spike in injuries is from is a decrease in general activity throughout the day. And so if you think about how much time you spend in your daily life when you're able to go to work and go grocery shopping and hang out with friends, do daily normal routines, if you think about how much you're moving throughout the day, whether that's getting up and out of your chair, going to somebody else's office and having a discussion, walking up and down flights of stairs, getting in and out of your car, walking around a grocery store, all of that activity adds up, right? And so what we're seeing right now is people spending lots and lots of time at home. And of course, this is for a good reason in terms of social distancing. However, we're sitting a lot more than we normally do. And so we need to start adjusting our mindset around that simple fact that we are sitting quite a bit more than we are used to, right? And so what happens when we sit, our muscles get a little bit tighter, other muscles stay in a lengthened position for much longer, the fluid in our body starts to stagnate, and so we need to start thinking about counteracting that sitting with simple general activity. And so one of the biggest preventative measures that anybody can take at any time in their life, whether they're stagnant for social distancing or not, is a walk around the block, going for a nice walk, okay? And so one of the things that I would recommend is setting an alarm clock for yourself, every 90 minutes, 120 minutes, so like an hour and a half to 2 hours. And that enables you to get out of your work routine or whatever routine you're in at home, sitting, standing, whatever, and get some just regular movement in, right? Because normally we'd be like running up and down the stairs, but we're not doing that anymore at all. And so what I would really recommend is, again, finding time throughout the day that you can get yourself up and outside regardless of weather. You can, coats are a thing, puffy pants are a thing, it's okay, boots are great if it's snowing outside, and going for a 10-minute walk. It doesn't have to be 2 hours, but we just want to make sure that we're still trying to keep up with some sort of general activity throughout the day so that we don't become overly stiff. And the big reason we're bringing this up is because now we don't have this added routine of moving around a lot, and then when we want to go start training, right, we have to think about our preparation for that training. And so we don't have the luxury of moving around that much anymore, right? So we have to start thinking about warming up for our warm-up or warming up for our training session. And that style and intensity of the warm-up has to change, right? And so what we want to be considering is if we're going from a cold state, which would be like sitting like I am working on a computer, to an active state or a higher intensity state of work, which would be like any sort of strength and conditioning training that you might be doing at your house, whether it be box jumps, lunges, pull-ups, push-ups, it doesn't really matter what it is. We need to elevate your system to the point where it can handle that work without getting some kind of tweak or injury. And so if we follow the same guidelines as like getting general activity throughout the day, I would highly recommend that before you jump into your warm-up, even if you think it's easy enough for you, the warm-up for your training session, I would encourage everybody to go on some kind of like general activity. You could go for a light bike ride, you could walk around the block a few times, it doesn't have to be much more than like 10 minutes or so. 5 to 10 minutes is great, but we just want to elevate our bodily temperature, get our blood flowing, get fluids going in our joints, so that our body can start to react properly to the warm-up stimulus, right? What we're seeing is people are going from this stagnant state of sitting for prolonged periods and then thinking that they can just jump right into their training session. And that's really jarring on the system. And our muscles are tight already from sitting, and so they're responding accordingly when we add load to them or velocity to our body. And so we're finding that people are ending up with little tweaks here and there. And the last thing we want to be doing in this, national crisis or in the time that we're spending at home is having to spend more time set up on the couch. And so just as a review, we would love it if you were able to get a little bit more general activity throughout the day, whether that's a 10-minute walk or a 30-minute bike ride. Giving yourself some repetitive general activity throughout the day is going to be really important, not only for your body, but for your psyche, right? Like, all of this has an emotional, physical, emotional, and mental stress on everybody, and just breaking up your day with some kind of general activity is going to be very helpful in all of those capacities. And then making sure that the athlete, you yourself, are warming up really well for your warm-up and for your training session. And so that might consist of a walk around the block for 5 or 10 minutes, 10 to 15 minute like low to moderately paced bike ride. You could go for a light jog or something for 5 to 10 minutes. It doesn't have to be crazy, but we do want to start thinking in terms of how much activity would I be normally getting throughout my day, throughout my work week, and considering that in terms of your warm-up before your training session. So try to implement these things throughout the day, throughout your week, and have fun with it.